See if people start coming in. Get Felicity on the line. All right. See people coming in. All right. People starting to come in. Come on in.
I can hear you fine.
So it's a little bit of feedback. All right, can you hear me?
How is it?
Yeah, that's good. Okay, people starting to come in. We're gonna let people come into the room, let you get comfortable, you know. Once you get a little settled, you look good.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're
I try my
welcome.
best.
By all means, everybody come in, join the conversation, share the conversation. We have a lot to talk about. We have a very special conversation tonight with a very special guest that I have known.
I hear a little echo.
You hear a little echo? Okay. How is it now?
It's a delay.
Okay. Are you on Wi-Fi? You on Wi-Fi? Okay. Let's see. You wanna you wanna try going out and coming back in? You wanna try that? Everybody come on in, join the conversation, say hello. I'm glad everybody is joining us tonight. We have a really special topic going on tonight. We got a lot to cover, so by all means, get comfortable. Share the conversation. Hopefully, everybody's going to learn a lot today. We're just getting Felicity settled with her the audio. So about to get her back in just a minute. She's coming back. She's coming back. By all means, keep sharing the conversation. Can you hear me? You can hear me good?
Can you hear me okay?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I can hear you good. I can hear you good. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So people keep sharing the conversation. I'm gonna give it maybe a couple more, maybe about 30 seconds, as I continue to look at my beautiful guests that I've known for years, all the way back to college days. Some good comments.
Yeah.
Um, so I just want to say this is Felicity Noire. So let me tell you a little bit about Felicity. This wonderful person that I've known for years. So Felicity is a native of Columbia, South Carolina, but currently resides in Atlanta, Georgia, where she's an outspoken trans activist throughout the area and on social media. Along with her activism, she operates her business Snatched and Laid.
Yeah.
She hosts an LGBT-focused radio show on B100 Radio, and is pursuing film and writing projects. She also has a bachelor's degree in education from the College of Charleston. She prides herself on being humble because she's been through the trials of living as a woman of trans experience and uses her steps in life as tools to motivate. Felicity's goal in life is to inspire others to embrace the reality that transgender and cisgender people are more similar than dissimilar. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Felicity Noire. How are you?
I am great. Hey, everybody.
So by all means, everybody keep sharing the conversation. Everybody on Felicity's end, on my end, keep sharing. We're gonna have a real good time tonight. The conversation it is sensitive, but it's necessary considering what's going on right now. Felicity, how are you faring through the pandemic?
I'm fine. I'm just staying safe and working. I'm fine.
And you know what? That's interesting because everybody that I've had a conversation with, they say the same thing that fortunately, they continue to do what they do, work, and have been blessed. So I'm glad to hear that every person I talk to is doing well.
I just stay safe, and hey, I walk in faith. So
okay. So I want to thank you for agreeing to do this conversation because I know when I first reached out to you, I know you were a little hesitant. I can definitely understand why. But
yeah.
Can you kind of touch on when I first reached out to you to have the conversation about what's going on with the Black transgender community and Black Lives Matter? What were your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts is that it's kind of non-existent, and the reason why I say that is because yes, Black lives matter, But then when you start to dissect it and say, well, Black Lives Matter, but, or Black Lives Matter, not them, then it becomes one of those things where you kind of step away from. Of course, we know Black Lives Matter, and you know, everyone gets upset when you say all lives matter. Well, all lives don't matter until Black Lives Matter, right? So if you say
Right.
Black Lives Matter, then all Black lives doesn't matter until every single sector of Black lives begin to matter. So I'm, you know, it's one of those things. I'll be honest with you. I kind of stepped away from screaming Black Lives Matter because I felt as though, hey, you people pick and choose what matters to them under that umbrella.
Mm. And it's interesting that you said that, and that's the reason why I wanted to have this conversation because I'd seen, you know, trans figures like you, Janet Mock, Laverne Cox, you know, T.S. Madison talking about, you know, the mistreatment and injustices that Black trans people go through.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I've always said this, that as you said, Black Lives Matter is just that, Black lives.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you agree with whomever is doing what with their choices of life, at the end of the day, they're still Black.
Exactly.
And I've told people, you cannot have a movement that is geared and focused on, you know, bringing equality for Black people if you don't include all Black people.
That's so
That
true.
makes your movement and your impact that less effective.
That's true.
So I really want to have this conversation to kind of get a better understanding of what trans people have been going through.
Uh-huh.
And I've known you for years, and I thought you'd be the perfect one to have this
Thank
conversation
you.
with, to number one, educate me,
Mm-hmm.
and then at the same time, educate everybody that's watching this conversation
Exactly.
that we're having. Uh, so we'll kind of get started off. So kind of tell people, give a little bit about your journey and kind of how you came into the realization and actualization of you as a person of trans experience.
Okay, so growing up in the South, it's just one of those things that is not necessarily known or popular. Um, so my journey was kind of hidden. I suppressed my journey for a very long time because, you know, I was raised in a household where certain things was we didn't speak on certain things. We kind of swept certain things under the rug. And if
Yeah.
it was not known, then we just left it alone and figured it would just go away. So my journey, I kind of started my journey peeking my head out when I was in college and just playing around with just different roles. Um, so I just played around with a little bit of things, and then I finally just woke up and said, I'm going to be me regardless. And I felt like I was kind of living a lie. You know, my outer wasn't matching my inner. So my journey, you know, started as soon as I finished college, because at that point, it's like, okay, well, I'm living for myself and no one's taking care of me. So why not be happy for me? And
Yeah.
started my journey as soon as I graduated from college at Charleston. And that was just it for me. It was just uphill from there.
Okay. So when people say transgender Felicity, you know, versus someone who's gay
Uh-huh.
or LGBT or LGB, what does transgender actually mean
Okay, so
when they say that
when you
word?
talk about transgender, you can't really say transgender and gay kind of in the same sentence, because you have to understand, when you think of trans, that's more like a gender identity. You identify, that's your identity. When you think
Mm-hmm.
of gay, it's more like sexual orientation, kind of who you're attracted to. And
Okay.
it's like transgender is like an umbrella, like trans is like an umbrella for like people who kind of identify differently than what they were assigned their gender at birth. People that
Mm-hmm.
took the extra step to kind of walk in their truth and live in their truth,
Yeah.
and they identify as the opposite of what biologically they're supposed to identify as, according to the doctors.
Okay. So when people use the word, because I've heard the word binary used a lot recently, and correct. So binary, and make sure and correct me if I'm wrong. Binary is when you don't adhere to any gender role. Is that
That
right?
is true. And one thing I want people to know, like, these terms are forever changing. Like, you know, if you notice, maybe 10 years ago or 20 years ago, you may not have known anything about gender nonconforming or binary or cisgender or
Yeah.
transgender. It's like some of those things that we're learning as we progress into newer age. So, yeah, gender non-binary, they just people who don't conform to the traditional way society see you as, if that makes sense. Like the roles
Yeah.
that society puts you in. Like a man should be a man, or a woman should be a woman, or a man should wear this, or a woman should wear this. They just don't conform to those society roles that are in place.
Okay. Okay. So I know you've heard about the story with Dwayne Wade and his daughter
Uh-huh.
Zaya. So when you hear about stories like that about young kids as early as 10 and 8, kind of voicing that they're transgender
Uh-huh.
and they want to begin the transition. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Because you were an adult when you began your transition.
I will say this. If you are a parent, and parents, they know. Parents know. If you are a parent and you have a child that is remotely a little different, number one, embrace them and try to understand what's going on, because you are the parent. And I will be honest, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew something was wrong with me as early as 3 years old, and I just didn't have a word or a name to put on it. I knew something was different, and I wasn't able to express myself. So it's never too young. You just have to hold that child's hand and actually educate yourself and that child, and actually sit down and learn, like, what is he or she going through, and sit down and speak to someone that's more knowledgeable. Like, can you teach us what we should do, other steps we should look into, so that our child knows that he or she is loved unconditionally. So there's no age. You can't put an age on that. To me personally, you can't put an age. All you can do is just understand and educate yourself if you start to see the signs.
Yeah. Okay. Now, when we first, when we first talked, you had mentioned that, because I know you are big on social media. You're a big personality. I mean, and if people knew you, they would know how hilarious you are. I've always said you have always been a source of joy, especially when I met you in college. The laughter was very much abundant. I always tell
Thank
people
you.
laughter is good for the soul. So, you just always been a joy to be around. So, when we first spoke, though, you had talked about you had kind of withdrawn from the limelight because of some fears you had. Can you kind of talk about those fears?
I withdrew from it because I'll be honest with you, like, when you become an activist, it doesn't matter. Don't ever let someone tell you what type of activist you need to be. I felt as though it was just every other day I was posting or speaking about a trans person that was murdered. I was putting RIP next to so many trans women that were taken so soon, that I felt like I used to have nightmares at night. I used to wake up and I used to be like, oh, wait, why am I having nightmares about my life being taken? And I felt as though I just surrounded myself with so much of that energy that I had to step back. I had to step back from a lot of things. And I do like my privacy. And I felt as though social media can sometimes ruin that. And things kind of fall out of place because you've now opened yourself up to be touched or to be judged or to be viewed in a different way. So I did step back a lot from social media.
Okay. I mean, so to someone who is kind of beginning their transition, or beginning to come to the realization of they're someone of trans experience, I mean, what steps or advice would you give them to kind of begin that journey in a way that's, helpful?
Educate yourself. Have that conversation with yourself and just know that it's not an easy journey. It's not going to be easy, and you have to understand the root word trans. Understand that transition will go on for the rest of your life. And you have to be ready to accept that people are going to be for you or against you. And just know that even if you're by yourself in the darkest moment, that you did the right thing for you. So you must educate yourself and make sure that this is what you want to do, because the lifestyle is not glamorous. It's not glorious. It's just not what you think it might be. But if you did it for the right reasons, you'll be okay with that. So just educate yourself and take your time.
Gotcha. I want to remind everybody I'm talking to
I need some
Felicity
water.
Noire. So, need some water?
My mouth dry.
This is social media personality, radio show host, business owner of Snatched and Laid, Miss Felicity Noire, and we are having a conversation about the Black trans community and also its conflicting feelings about the Black Lives Matter movement. And I want to say this before we go into that specific conversation that I got a lot of messages about, a lot of good feedback, because a lot of people are seeing these conversations that trans people, Black trans, are having when it comes to this movement of Black Lives Matter. And I want people to understand that the conversation that Felicity and I are going to have, it's one of, to bring up, if anything, understanding and empathy of both sides. This is not about one side against the other, because at the end of the day, both she and I agree and have said, at the end of the day, Black lives is just that, Black lives, not just cisgender, not just transgender, anybody Black. So I want people to fully be aware of that, and I hope that as we have this conversation, that you have an open mind, and if anything, begin to put yourself in a place of increase compassion, increase empathy. Because at the end of the day, without every group of the Black community, that makes the fight for injustice amongst all of us that less impactful. So keep that in mind as we had this conversation. So Felicity, so I'm sure you've seen when it went from Black Lives Matter to all Black Lives Matter. And so, so from your viewpoint of what you've seen and what you've heard, why did it go from Black Lives Matter to now all Black Lives Matter?
Because now people are starting to understand that you can't pick and choose what fight you want to join and jump into. And then you have to think about, people shy away from talking about Black on Black crime. And they say, well, there's no white on white crime. Okay, well, we're talking about Black on Black because I'm Black, and that's what I want to talk about. You have to understand that it has to go to all Black Lives Matter. It has to go there, because if you don't include every single, being transgender, guess what? You're still Black. So why is it that there's an uproar when your life is taken, but when my life is taken, it's silence? You might get a post, you might get a boo-hoo, rest in peace, but there's no one marching. There's no one reaching out saying, hey, let's figure out why the life expectancy for a Black trans woman is 35. There's no one talking about that. There's no one speaking about how over 70 to 85% of most Black trans that are murdered are by Black men.
Yeah.
So it needs to move over to all Black Lives Matter, because the argument that was all lives matter, no, not until Black lives. Okay, well, guess what? Not until trans is included into that Black. So it needed to shift. It needed to shift in order for it to be more impactful, because other than that, it's hypocrites. You guys are all hypocrites.
Yeah. And to kind of add on what you said, again, more reason for why I wanted to have this conversation, because I saw the viral footage of Iyanla Dior, the young trans woman who got beat, pretty much mobbed by a group of Black men and Black women. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, if you go to YouTube and put in Iyanla Dior, you'll see the video. She was at a gas station, and from my understanding, there was kind of a fender bender, and there was a back and forth between her and some girls. But it was maybe about 15 to 20 men pretty much beating on her and cornered her at this gas station, along with some Black women. And I'll be honest with you, I was amazed she got out with her life. And this was days after the death of George Floyd. And so that's when I started seeing the various posts from trans figures. And I understand why, because there was a lack of attention about what happened to this girl. And I can understand the conflicting feelings you all have, because it's like, if you're getting beat by the same brothers and sisters that are a part of this movement for racial injustice, I can understand why you would be like, you know what? Clearly you don't care about my life, so why would I want to join in on this movement? I get it. I really do. And also something that I learned, that just days after Iyanla's beating, that it was a fatal police shooting of Tony McDade, a 38-year-old Black trans man in Tallahassee, Florida. And that started to spark protests within the LGBT community. And then activists have also brought attention to the murder of Nina Pop, a 28-year-old who was found dead in her apartment in Missouri early last month. Both McDade and Pop were initially misgendered by police departments when they released information about their deaths. And I get that. So when you saw that video, Felicity, what was your reaction to that?
I was speechless. Because to have so many people attack this one person, and then it was as if it was a game to them. And I was even more disgusted when I read the comments under the video. And guess what? One thing you have to realize that I hate the most is when you see a trans or gay person being attacked. If you see a trans person murdered, you never shame the victim. It's almost as if people make excuses. Like, oh, this happened because he or she did this. Oh, it's okay because he or she said this. No, it's never okay. At the end of the day, you cannot excuse the fact that her life was put in danger and you guys lessen the damage by saying it's because she's trans. And it's sad, but it was our own Black community that did it. Yeah.
Now let me ask you a question. Do you feel less obligated kind of, and I think you hinted it, but I kind of want to ask again. Do you feel less seeing that, and do you feel less obligated to get involved with Black Lives Matter movement when you see things like that?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I think?
Do you feel less obligated, or you kind of just like?
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie. A lot of the protests that went on in Atlanta, I went to bed sleep. I took a nap. I think I might have went and got some chicken wings or something. I'm not sure. Because guess what? Until my life matters to everyone, I think I'm going to sit this one out. Okay? Because if I take my Black ass down there protesting, marching, Black Lives Matter, boom, I get knocked off. They're going to scoop me on side and maybe do a Facebook post, but no one's going to march for me. Because guess what? My life doesn't matter to majority of the people screaming Black Lives Matter. So that's just what it is. I'm just being honest. And I don't brag about saying that I don't fully support Black Lives Matter, which I do. It's just, I'm sorry, you guys. You're being hypocrites. You are right now. Just being honest.
Well, and that seems to be the consistent feeling with Black trans people across the board. Am I lying? Or
no, it's consistent, because you have to understand. I'm just going to be honest with you. A trans person leaves their home every day, and in their mind, they pray that they make it home safely. And trans people, they don't fear a non-Black person pulling a trigger on them. They don't fear a non-Black person taking their life. No, they fear their own community. Their own community are the people that are beating or killing Black trans women. I'm just being honest. And I can't sit here and support a movement when I just know that, hey, this movement doesn't support me. It doesn't. So it is what it is. Yeah. I mean, hey. Yeah.
Well, I definitely can relate and I understand. I think, and I've had these conversations with other people when it comes to, this movement that we're going through. I think sometimes that the Black community, I think sometimes there is a getting caught up in the righteous indignation of what a white man has done, what the white man has done, versus at the end of the day, we have some things within the house, the Black house. There's some issues that sometimes we don't clean up our own dirt.
No, we sweep it under the rug.
Yes, and I tell people, it's one thing for another race to treat me bad. It's doubly offensive when my own race does it to me. It's doubly offensive. And so I definitely understand where you're coming from. I mean, what do you think should change when it comes to Black Lives Matter? What do you think they could do to, I guess, change the hearts and minds of Black trans people?
Do what they're doing now. They've changed it to all Black Lives Matter. You have to understand, until the conversation has been had, then no one will talk about it, and no one will think about it in a different aspect. It's going in the right direction because of the conversations that you and I are having. People are now speaking up and using their voice. But the fact that we've now included all Black Lives Matter lets you know there's a conversation being had, and change needs to happen from within. So continue doing what we're doing, voicing our opinions and speaking. Conversations like the one you and I are having.
Everybody, I want to remind you again, this is Miss Felicity Noire, and she and I are having a conversation about the Black trans community and Black Lives Matter movement, how they all are related. By all means, please share the conversation.
You guys can share
This is
this
very
live. Stop playing. Share this live.
yes, what she said, that part. So please share the conversation. But you know, and it's interesting because you know you and I have known each other since college, and I find it that again when I met you when you had moved to Atlanta and you had come into your full transition, I didn't find it hard to accept or see you as the person that you had become. You know, I instantly, when I saw you, I embraced you, and I instantly went into Felicity. I know her from college, and I didn't have a hard time. And so it kind of, and for me, I come from a place of just, again, respecting people because I want respect back in return. So when I saw you, it wasn't this thing of, oh, you know, I'm so shocked, I can't get used to the pronouns. This is Felicity, this is she, this is who she is, and it's never been an
And
issue. And
I appreciate that. Wholeheartedly
yeah,
appreciate that.
absolutely. And sometimes it puzzles me how people can have that conflict, and the only thing I can say is if people just have more compassion and come from a place of again, you want to give the respect you want back in return. Okay, the same way you wouldn't want to, if you know, we're going to use the racial thing, a white man calling you boy or this, and you know, that black man, that there, you got to give, if anything, you got to give your own the same respect, if anything.
That is
So
true.
you know, yeah, you know, so I really hope people are hearing this and again having an open mind to bringing about the change within our house, so we can see that outside and have a bigger
That
impact.
is true.
Felicity, do you think white transgender people have a harder time than black trans?
No,
Okay,
no, because
explain why. Why?
you still have that aspect of white privilege. You have to understand. Over, I would say, the rate of black homeless trans youth is 100 times higher than white trans youth. And the reason being is because there's more of a support system for white trans folk or white LGBT folk. There's more of a support system. And in the black community, there's a disconnect on, again, services being offered or resources there that you can touch and go to for help and seek. Or within your home, most black families don't support this transition or support gay. Now you have to deal with transgender. A lot of black families are not educated on those terms and that journey, so therefore they turn their backs on those trans people. And black trans people are left to fend for themselves and figure it out on their own. So no, they don't go through what black trans people go through. No, not at all.
So when it comes to the relations between black trans and white trans, are there racial issues? Do you get along with other white trans people?
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
do you have?
I get along with everybody. I don't care if you're white, green, blue. It's how you treat me. But guess what?
Right.
Your story and my story are two different things. You can't walk in my shoes and I can't walk in your shoes. I can only tell you the reality of what I've gone through and what I see and the black trans people that I've helped. So it's just like, I'm going to be honest with you, it's just like the LGBT community. You have to understand, we fought so hard to have labels. Now we use those same labels to separate ourselves. There's a lot of times there's a disconnect in the LGBT community from the gay men and the black trans women. There's some type of battle as if it needs to be there. And, you know, and there's hate within, even with the lesbian community. Sometimes they have a love-hate relationship towards trans men or even transgender women. Like, it's just one of those things that we've taken the labels of LGBTQ and basically weaponized them against each sector of LGBTQ.
Why do you think that is? Why is it?
I honestly, if I knew the answer to that, hey, we'll be singing Kumbaya, holding hands. I just love on who loves me. I treat people how they treat me. I respect people for whatever reason until you do something to me, and then baby, it is what it is. But I'm just saying, it's one of those struggles that we go through. But you know, we thought we want to be, everyone wants to be treated equal. But then why did you put that label on yourself? Because you felt like you need to identify with something. So now you have that label on you. You've weaponized it, and you use that to belittle other people. Like you'll be surprised at some of the conversations I've had with I've sat in a conversation with people that did not know my gender in the LGBT community, and I just heard some of the things that they say about other people, the trans especially, and I'm just appalled. I'm just like, oh shit, like oh, that's how you feel, you know. And then boom, I might sometimes say, well, let me tell you a little bit about me, and then now they're quiet because now they done said all these things that they really feel. And then you have that token like, oh, well, I don't hate them because I have a friend that's just like that. You know, then you have that conversation. But we have a lot of hate from within. Look at the gay men. You have gay men that hate feminine gay men or hate, what do you say, no fats, no femmes. Y'all got to have a conversation about that.
That's a real conversation.
And then you can sit here and disguise that hate with preference. You can sit there and do that. So that's a conversation that needs to be had as well. But hey, who am I to judge, baby?
Yeah. And it's interesting you should say that. I've had these conversations with people, and one of the reasons I say that is because it begins with a self thing. There's a self insecurity or a self hate that you're trying to mask, and you see somebody in that what you hate about yourself, and it makes you cringe.
And you have to realize you have trans women that are passable and they have privilege. And there's a struggle between the non-passable and the passable, because more doors are open for the passable and more opportunities are afforded. And then you have some that aren't that passable. And they're sitting over here like, why can't I have a piece of the pie? So there's a struggle within the trans community as well when it comes to blending in, and the struggles that a person that does blend in doesn't go through compared to a trans woman that isn't so passable. So trust me, everyone has a struggle. I promise you, everyone has a struggle.
Yeah. So just to explain to people who may not know what you say, when you say passable, explain what that means when you say passable.
Okay, so when I'm speaking of the trans community and I say passable, it basically means able to blend in to society without you knowing what this person identifies themselves as. So when she walks in a room, you wouldn't know that she's trans. You just know that you see a woman there. You know, she's blending into society.
So as far as when it comes to that word privilege, meaning she has less challenges or problems than someone who may
that is true. And I'm just gonna be honest. I've had a lot of privilege. But you know, but it's okay, because then I also reach back and grab my sister that may not have had that, and I say, girl, come on, let's do this.
Yeah.
Or let me give you some tips, or let me give you some advice, or matter of fact, hold my hand. Let's walk through this crowd, because I know that they're saying whatever they're saying, but I'm gonna stand next to you. I've done that. Not saying I do it all the time, because it depends on where I'm at. Sometimes I just want to blend in.
So I know earlier you mentioned white privilege when it came to white trans people. So from your point of view, what does white privilege mean for white trans people? What does that look like? What does that mean?
You have to
give me an example.
An example. I'll start with the household. Usually white trans people, they have a support system. They have either both parents, because you already know most Black homes have broken families, broken homes. They don't have both mother and father figure. So in a lot of white trans homes, they have both. So now they have their mother and their father that they can reach out to and go through this journey with. And not saying that they should be faulted for that. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, the more support you have from the people that opinions matter to you, the more successful and the more driven you are in life to do other things than just live to survive, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's get into some some fun things. And again, for those just joining us, I am talking with Miss Felicity Noire of Atlanta, Georgia, radio show host, business owner of Snatched and Laid,
Yes.
A phenomenal and bubbly personality, and a trans activist, big on social media and within the local area of Atlanta, Georgia. Now you own your business, own business, Snatched and Laid. Talk a little bit more about that. What is Snatched and Laid?
That's my baby. I decided that 2013 I wanted to change. I was living a lifestyle that it wasn't the safest, and I said, okay, well, this isn't for me, and I need something that I can be proud of, you know. And I
Yeah.
started my business, Snatched and Laid, which is a beauty brand. And I'm so proud of myself that 7 years later, it's still going and it's still strong. And snatchedandlaid.com, by the way. It was just something I needed because I felt as though I wasn't going to live past 30. And back then, 7 years ago, even though I was early 20s, it was just like, I need to do something to change my lifestyle because I've had too many warning signs, you know, and a lot of times trans women don't speak of it, but I've had too many warning signs where I said, okay, strike three, I know my life can be taken. And so I started my business, and I wanted to do something that could take me out of that lifestyle that I was in. And I'm so happy I did because I never looked back.
Okay. Now I've seen some of your products. Can you tell people what exactly do you sell on
I mean, I sell a
snatchedandlaid.com?
lot of different things, from waist trainers who's trying to get that waist snatch. I provide wholesale hair to vendors all over the world, to salons, to different people. I sell eyelashes. I sell shapewear. I sell a lot of different things, that all things beauty, anything that involves the beauty industry, I have on there. But I'm also rebranding every single year. I do something different to add to my Snatched and Laid brand.
Okay. So how much do for the ladies who are trying to get snatched and laid, how much do your waist trainers
They
usually go?
range anywhere from 60 up to 75.
Okay.
And I love my plus
And it's
size
interesting.
women. Plus size women, I love you because I'm plus size too, baby. I love you guys.
Yeah.
Get snatched and laid.
And it's interesting. I've seen on YouTube on Ballroom Throwbacks. I'm sure
Yeah,
you're
shout
aware
out to
because
Caesar, Ballroom Throwback.
yeah, and just Kelly, right? Just
Uh-huh.
Kelly, you and her. And I've seen her. There was a video where she actually had on one of your waist trainers, and she was making her tell me, I'm snatched and laid, and so she had to take off the
Yeah.
waist trainer, because she said, I've trained too much. I gotta
Mhm.
take it off. So I just thought about you, and I said, I wonder if Felicity has seen this video because
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
hilarious.
I've known Kelly for Jesus, I've known Kelly over 14 years. And she's an amazing personality. She's not talking to me right now, but she's an amazing spirit and amazing personality. And yeah, she did support, and forever I'm grateful.
Okay. Okay. And and bringing me to that because there's so many personalities like you, Just Kelly, T.S. Madison. Have you all thought about, like, because I see a lot of these forums, like
Thank you,
the
Larry.
these revolt forums. Have you all ever thought about doing something like that, like doing a forum on your own,
Doing what?
like a trans forum, like
Oh,
of all the
it's been
different?
done. It's been done.
Okay.
Because we all live in different places, it's kind of hard for everyone to come together. But usually it's been
Yeah.
done, especially during Pride weekend. Sometimes different organizations, like ATL Rockstars, they do forums. Derek J do a lot of forums here in Atlanta as well. Different people do forums, so it happens more often than not.
Yeah. Okay. For everybody just coming into the room, I'm talking with Felicity Noire, and we are having a wonderful conversation, important conversation about the Black Lives Matter movement. By all means, please submit your questions. And as we talk, we'll try to get some questions into Felicity for you to so she can answer them for you. So just start submitting those, because once she's gone, she's gone. Because trust me, it was hard getting this big time personality on the conversation. So by all means, submit your questions. Look like her live froze. You still there? You still there? Wait a minute. Everybody. So kind of bear, we're going to try to get her back. But I'm glad people are joining this conversation. She's gonna get back in. So just kind of bear with us. But if for all of those watching, submit some comments about what you learned from this conversation, what you think you can take back to your own individual spaces. So we're getting Felicity back. Getting her back. Bear with us. But while she's coming back, start submitting your questions, start submitting your comments. Because I think this is something important that you all need to start having your own individual conversation, not just me, because I think we're all in this together when it comes to understanding and empathy. So she's coming back into the room. Kind of bear with us. She's connecting. But if you are in the room, you're still live, you're still here, wave at me. Let me know you're still seeing this. We're trying to get her back. Kind of bear with her. She's connecting. All right. She's connecting. So anybody have any questions? Anybody have any comments about, what you've seen thus far? What do you think thus far about what we've been talking about? So let me try adding her again. Hey, Shaquana Scruggs, family member, trying to connect Felicity back in. Hold on. All right, trying to add her back in. So Felicity, it's connecting Felicity. So yeah, just there you go. You back?
Okay, I don't know what happened.
Okay, don't worry. I kept the conversation
Okay,
going.
great.
I said we're gonna get you back. I said just bear with us. And I told people to submit comments, kind of submit feedback about what they've heard us talk about Felicity, and kind of questions about what they might have for you. And people have just been waving, so we're gonna kind of keep going. So we were talking about personalities like Just Kelly, and that brings us to the topic about Ballroom, specifically the show Pose. And I'm sure you've heard of that show, right?
I have.
So when you see shows like Pose and the show Star on Fox, do you think they depict trans lives accurately, precisely? Think it's on point?
I think they do.
Okay.
For the most part, I definitely think that they do. It's some more untold stories that do need to be spoken, or conversations that do need to be had. But I applaud both shows because they definitely dove into the lives of trans women and tried to show you as much as they could on those networks. So yeah, amazing. And they were able to give trans women visibility. So hey, it was amazing.
Okay. What more would you like to see on Pose specifically, since it's so big and it's coming back? What would you like to see?
Well, you got to realize Pose is more geared towards the ballroom scene. I'm working on a pilot that myself and a dear friend, I don't know if you remember Lynette Doby. She went to College of Charleston as well. She's an amazing writer and director, and she and I are working on something very special. Yeah. And it's definitely going to give you a different side of the trans experience.
Okay.
So yeah, so the conversation will be had, and I'm going to speak it into existence. But yeah, just stay tuned.
Do you think you would ever want to get involved? I mean, along with your project that you be working on, do you ever think you would audition for something like Pose or get involved with that show?
If the opportunity presents itself, I would love to be a part of that. Okay. I'm all about things happen when they're supposed to happen. And I would think it would be amazing to tell your story or educate someone else. I would definitely do it and represent the House of Balmain, of course. Shout out to the House of Balmain for winning legendary season 1 $100,000. It's snatchedandlaid.com. Laid is spelled Layed. I just saw a little something right there. I just had to plug that in.
I get it. I understand. That's why you by all means. And I want everybody to know we're going to post her website, so again, so after this conversation, you'll be able to go visit snatchandlay.com if you have an interest. So by all means, I definitely want her to get the credit that she's due. And Felicity, you just mentioned House of Balmain winning Legendary. That's a show on HBO Max, right?
That's the show on HBO Max. And it was like a ballroom competition of voguing and different talents from Ballroom. And it was amazing because, again, the story is now being told about a subculture that was just done with no one noticing the importance of it. And now it's getting visibility. Shout out to everyone involved. You guys did amazing. They had a lot of amazing houses on there, amazing people from Laomi to Deshawn to Jack to the House of Balmain, the House of West, the House of Gucci, Saint Laurent. They had so many people, Lanvin. They had so many people on there, and the stories were being told, the conversations were being had, and it was amazing. And I think it should continue.
So for those who may be unaware, kind of uneducated, what is Ballroom? Tell a little bit what Ballroom is.
I mean, Ballroom is just competition. It's like Ballroom is an extended family that you join, and you just travel around and you go through the good, the bad, the ups and the downs, and you win some battles, you lose some, but at the end of the day, you're family, and you all go back to the same place of safety, which is Ballroom. It's just like an arena of love and acceptance. That's Ballroom.
Okay. So I've heard a lot about, so the categories. What when it comes to categories in Ballroom, what are the categories about? What does that mean? When
Categories is just a category that you feel like, okay, I can turn this category. So I'm going to jump into it. It can be voguing, it can be runway, it can be realness, passability. It can be many different things, and it's just a competition. Like sometimes you go to a dance competition, or you may go to a talent show. It's just competition, except they have categories that are very well known in the LGBT community that you compete for.
Okay. Now, I've seen the documentary Paris is Burning. Do you think that's a kind of a good introduction for people when it
oh my gosh, if you are a part of Ballroom, then you should watch that. That's almost as if telling a Black person you need to go watch Roots, or you just have to watch certain things to understand. And when you watch those things, you educate yourself.
Yeah. So for those who just kind of missed that, it's a documentary called Paris is Burning. It's actually on YouTube. You can watch it for free.
You can also they have a couple different shows. Like they have one called My House. They have one, so they have a lot of different shows that can educate you on different things. They have one that is pretty a documentary on Netflix right now called Disclosure. I think if you want to educate yourself, definitely tune into Disclosure, because it will teach you a lot about things that you may not know. I even told my family, I said, hey, you guys, go watch this.
So it seems to be a great fascination with Ballroom. Why do you think now that it's starting to really start to hit the masses? Why do you think now?
I feel like everything happens in its season, and this is Ballroom season. And a lot of people have loved and enjoyed Ballroom. It's just that now it's becoming mainstream. And a lot of people, it's becoming a battle now, because it's almost as if people want to tell their story, but they don't want their story to be stolen and told in a different way. But I mean, it's beautiful. Ballroom is becoming mainstream. It's getting the attention that it's deserved for a very long time. And all we can do is enjoy the ride.
Okay. So we got a question from somebody watching. And the question is, can you talk a little bit about the steps in the transition process, about how family members can support somebody transitioning? What can they do?
Okay. So if you have a family member that is transitioning or thinking about it, the first thing you can do is, hold on. Sorry, I had to make sure my list. Okay.
That's how you know this conversation is real. She's checking her makeup.
I am while I talk. So if you have a family member or a friend that is transitioning, the first thing you need to do is accept them. When I say accept them, you may not understand what they're going through or why they're doing it, But if they feel as though you're accepting them for who they are, they'll open up more. And this is very key. This is very key. The people that is closest to that trans person, you need to go through a sense of mourning. And the reason being is because the person that you thought you knew or that they were going to become has now changed. So if you go through a sense of mourning, then you'll be able to accept the butterfly that's in front of you now that you see. Because a lot of times family members hold on to that person that they thought they knew, and it creates resentment. So the steps that you have to do is first just know that you have to understand what they're going through, educate yourself, accept them wholeheartedly, 100%. Let them know, I may not know what you're going through, but I'm here along the way, and I'm here for you. So you never have to feel like you're alone. Those words right there would mean a lot to a trans person. And if you do that from the beginning, everything else will fall into place. You know, you go sit down and understand that things are going to change. And once you realize that, you'll be fine. You'll be totally fine.
And it's interesting that you said that, and I thought that was so compassionate when you said the family members have to go through a period of mourning, because usually you would think you would hear, oh, well, I'm going to do this, you just need to accept it. So for you to say that
that's for trans people as well. Like we have to let them go through that. And we can't put a timeline on it as well, because your mother and father, those are the people that it takes the longest. In the Black family especially. It takes a very long time, because they're still gonna, you know, address you as your former self or former name, because guess what? They have not complete that mourning, and you can't rush them. You can't. Yeah.
So you would definitely suggest to those who are transitioning to kind of be compassionate with their family members, to mourn who they used to be. That's what you're saying, right?
I'm going through that myself. Yeah. You have to. Because if not, you're going to be bitter. You're going to be upset. You're just going to be so frustrated that people can't accept you for you immediately, that you forget that your transition means that they're transitioning as well. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking to Felicity Noire. We're having a wonderful conversation. And a lot of people come into the room. By all means, submit your comments and questions. She is answering them now, because trust me, once she is gone, this is it.
Lord.
And this is a treat, so by all means, please get this on. Please submit your questions. Let me ask you a question. How do you feel? How do you feel the conversation is going? How do you feel?
It's going amazing. You know, look, I don't get on Facebook Live like that anymore, and usually I'm the person doing the interviewing. So this feels amazing. This feels good, and I love the conversation, because, you know, I haven't spoken to you in so long, and it seems like yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little different, but
ain't missed the beat. I remember all the crazy times.
No.
And we
just
had
a little more highlight and contour right now.
We had some crazy times, but you know, we had that. That's a conversation, but we had some good times. And I think that's what it's all about. And people can kind of keep in mind that about the human side, that we all are more alike than we are different. I think you said it perfectly. So it's just wonderful to kind of talk to you and have this conversation, get informed, and get educated. But yeah, so you know, again, everybody submit your comments. So we're going to go into something that I like to call, and I told you about this. It's called the intimacy round. And when I say intimacy round, I tell people it's broken down to intimacy, meaning me get to see into Felicity to kind of get a better sense of who you are on the inside. Intimacy round. So you ready? You ready for the intimacy round of questions, Miss Felicity Noire? Okay. If you could trade places with someone for a day, who would it be? And why? One person.
One person. Damn. With one person?
Want to come back to it?
Yeah, come back to that, because shit, I don't see myself. I don't come back. I'm sorry.
Okay. We did get a question. Somebody asked, how does it feel being who you are today versus who you were in college?
It feels amazing. It feels I have a sense of freedom. Because even though I was happy in college back then, I always knew that I was not happy.
Yeah.
So now it's like I'm happy. And that's an amazing feeling. People don't understand that. Happiness
Peace of
is
mind.
amazing. Oh my gosh. It is amazing to wake up and say, I am me, I am free, and I can be whoever I want to be. Oh my God, that was kind of cute right there, wasn't it? Oh, that was kind of cute. Oh, oh shit.
Would you
My
say you
bad.
have peace of mind? Would you say you have peace of mind?
Yeah, for the most part I do.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Someone gave you some feedback. Someone said your lips are popping. Said, sis, your lips are popping.
Thank you, boo, because I felt like they was getting a little dry. Thank you, boo.
What have you found that you thought was true but you realize isn't? What's one thing that you thought was true but you realize isn't?
One thing I thought was true and I realized it's not true. Before my transition, I thought it was going to be easy. Life was going to be easy. I thought love was going to be easy. I really did. And after my transition, till this day, that's why I'm telling you, baby, you better realize if that's really what you want to do, because every day is a gift.
Yeah.
And I'm learning that, baby, yeah, I realized that that wasn't true. That everything was going to be easy after the transition.
So you mentioned love. How challenging has it been when it comes to finding love?
I meet a lot of guys. The problem is I meet a lot of people that aren't aware or don't know.
Yeah.
And that's a conversation that ruins a lot of advancement in those situations. And then I meet a lot of guys that take that and turn it into some type of fantasy. And I meet guys that are okay, but then their families aren't okay with everything. And so we don't move forward. So it's pretty challenging, but my cup runneth over. I'm okay.
You're good, right?
I'm good. I promise you I'm good. I'm good.
So somebody asked a question, Felicity. Somebody said, what do you feel the community can do better in? And if you had the direct power, what would you do to create that change?
What do I think the community can do for what?
I think it was just a general question about the trans community. What do you think the trans community could do better in? And if you had the power, what would you do to create that change?
There's a lot of people that are visible in the trans community that are creating that change. They just had the trans march in DC.
Yeah, I heard about that. I did hear about that.
So there's a lot of things that people are doing right now that if I had the power, I would make every single person that's not trans take a class on understanding what transgender means, the problems, the things that they face, and how to be more respectful and love on one another. That's what I would do if I had the power. I'd sit your ass down, put you in class. Yeah, that's what I would do.
Make them more informed, get them more informed about what's going on.
Yeah, put that, baby, slap them with a book. You're gonna learn today.
So we got another question from Latrice Williams Carter. She asked, realizing that you have such a powerful platform, how do you support your Black transgender fan base? Meaning, in what ways do you lead by example?
I'm just gonna say this now. I am not perfect. I am human. I like to cuss. I like to drink. I like to do all kind of things. So listen, let me tell you now. Don't come to me thinking that I'm perfect, and don't come to me thinking that I'm not gonna keep it real with you. Believe it or not, I get messages every day from younger trans people that ask advice on, hey, do you know where I can go to do hormone therapy? Or can you point me in the right direction for laser? Or, hey, do you know any places that have housing for trans people? So every day I'm reaching out or I'm mentoring someone. I just don't brag about it. I feel as though, there's a lot of women that I've actually helped get on hormone therapy. I've pointed them in the right directions, and I don't tell people this, but there's plenty of Black trans women that I've sent money to when they were homeless or they needed a room, or I had to go pick someone up because they were in a situation and help them. So there's many things I do. I just don't feel the need to tell everybody about it. So yeah, that's what I do, and I'm currently doing, and I still will do.
Understandable. So what's something that you think we should all do more of?
Love one another. Yep, love one another unconditionally. A lot of times we come from broken backgrounds, so why come into a situation and create more brokenness? Just love on one another. Yep, you matter, I matter, we matter. Matter of fact, the whole fact of the matter is love. I got
What's
that
the
from
talent?
I got that from my really good friend Nadia Perry. You remember Nadia? Nadia Perry.
I do remember Nadia.
And I just have to plug this in as well. She and I and another amazing gentleman came together, a trans woman, a trans man, and Nadia, and we came together and created an amazing song, and it's called No Condition. And we are in the process of releasing that song. And I just want everyone to take a moment and listen to it. It's on every streaming platform right now. It's called No Condition. We haven't released it yet, but it's available on all music platforms. And just take a listen. It's under Felicity Noire and Nadia Perry, and it's called No Condition.
Okay. What's been your scariest life moment?
Oh, honey. Having a gun put to my head because of my gender. That was the scariest one. And that was right when I said I needed a lifestyle change. Yep, same year. That was one of my scariest moments. Yeah.
Was this coming from where you come from? Store,
No,
club?
it was someone that I've been knowing for a while. And they just they got upset that someone that they knew found out about what was going on, and then I was threatened because of that. So that was a scary moment, and I just knew that, okay, yeah, this ain't for me, baby.
Gotcha. When was the last time you cried?
Last week, 4th of July weekend. I was with my family. Yeah, I don't like to get emotional. That's just not my thing. But yeah, last week was I cried last week. Yeah. Tears of joy more so though.
With your family? Family?
Reconnecting with my family. That was tears of joy. Yeah.
If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that one piece of advice be?
My advice to my younger self would be, it's okay. It's okay. Because for so long, I felt like I was not okay, and it was not okay to feel the way I felt, to want to do the things that I wanted to do, to identify as what and who I wanted to identify with. So I would tell my younger self, it's okay. Go ahead and do that now. It's okay.
Something you wish you were better at?
I wish I was better at being, I guess, soft. I wish I was softer. I'm pretty blunt when it comes to the people I care about and my friends. And sometimes they take that and it hurts their feelings because I've said something the way that they didn't expect it to come out or wanted me to say it. And I wish I could be a little bit more softer in the way that I speak to people. I wish I could, yeah.
Secret talent that people wouldn't know about you. Secret talent.
I don't know. I ain't got no. What talent? I ain't got no. I mean, I got a lot of talent, but people know about them. I ain't got no secret talent.
Okay. All right. All right.
I mean, do I have no secret talent? No. Oh, you know what? I do have a secret talent.
What is it?
It's kind of scary though. Like, I see things before they happen. Like, a lot of people in my life, like, even if it was like a tragedy or a blessing, I kind of see it before it happens, and it's crazy. I see it in my dreams, and then I would talk to that person and either warn them or tell them ahead of time or congratulate them. I don't know. Yeah, that's a hidden talent I don't really tell people about. No, I'm not no psychic, but shit be coming to me. I'm just saying.
All right. If you could have one last conversation with any deceased person, who would it be and why?
If I could have a conversation with who?
Any deceased person. One last conversation. Who would it be and why?
It would be my grandmother. Oh, I don't want to talk about it.
You want to talk about it?
But it would be my grandmother.
You were very close?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Change the subject, please.
Yeah. I tell people these questions, and some people when I tell people the question, like, oh, it's never good. I tell people, it makes you think. It makes you think. And that's what these questions are about. It helps me get to know some of my guests more intimately. That's why I ask them. And we'll come back to the other question that we passed by was one person you would want to trade places with for one day. Who would it be? And if it's nobody, you can say that.
One person. I don't want to trade places with nobody.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I don't want to trade places.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Well, Miss Felicity Noire, you have been a wonderful guest. How do you feel?
I feel amazing.
You feel amazing? I want to say thank you because I appreciate you doing this. And just for people who don't know, we work a lot behind the scenes getting this organized, and I appreciate Felicity. Despite having a little few reservations with everything that's going on, I understand. I appreciate her being brave enough to kind of have this conversation with me. And I told her from the get-go that I had her, that I was not going, this was all love. If anything, this was to help to educate myself and all those watching. And I think we achieved that goal. What do you think?
I just took my headphones out, so I don't know if it's some bad feedback.
Okay. It's probably some bad feedback.
But I just want to thank you for letting me be a part of this. Educated a lot of people and taught them something, and I just want to thank you for being brave enough to have this conversation when so many people shy away from it. I want to thank you for trusting me to have this conversation with. And I think you are amazing. I've always thought you were amazing, and you just proved me right, everything about you. And I just want to say thank you for sharing your platform to educate people.
I love you dearly, and I appreciate you doing this from the bottom of my heart. And if you ever need me, and if I'm ever in Atlanta, fully well, I'm gonna come see you.
Okay, that's fine. And that's fine.
So let's say I owe you a dinner. How about that? I owe you dinner next time I'm in Atlanta. How about that?
Yeah,
dinner?
and I owe you a drink.
Okay. Bet.
Say no more. All right, love you, babe. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me.
Everybody, this has been Felicity Noire. Felicity, thank you. Love you. Good night. Everybody share the conversation.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
And I'm going to post Felicity's business national aid for all the women, and maybe some of you men. I'm going to post. I'm
No
going to post
discrimination.
on my Facebook page for you to visit her website. And by all means, please support her. And I hope everybody has learned something tonight. I know I have. And again, share the conversation. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, you guys. Be blessed.
Bye, Felicity.